Hey everyone, welcome to another issue of Marvel Time, issue number 12, as you can see below. You might notice things are a little different today. Benji is not joining us, so instead Kyle is filling in. Kyle, thanks for joining today.
Yeah, you're smart to choose someone who's read very few comics and has no idea what's going on, but read them anyway.
Yeah, that was actually kind of my idea. I thought it would be a nice perspective to see, because whenever I review the comics in my actual written reviews, I like to kind of give a note as to whether or not it would be a good comic to jump in on. Um, of course, the ones that we read this week really weren't. So you picked a good week to join us here. So before we get into each individual comic, what did you think overall? What was this experience like?
Well, there's obviously some frame of reference because there's characters that I'm familiar with from like the MCU, and even some other ones that I've heard about over the years. But as far as storylines go, it was definitely an experience, especially because some of these felt like they were all over the place. Mainly the Empyre ones that we'll get to, but
Yeah, and if you've been following along with our show for the past few weeks, you'll know that Empyre has kind of been all over the place and kind of a little bit difficult to follow at times. So that fits right in with what today's comics were like. So let's start off actually with Marauders number 12, our first comic of the day. Let me see if I can share this the cover with you guys here. There we go. So this was
like Figment, but it's not.
Lockheed is essentially Marvel's Figment, so it's essentially
Okay.
the same. Yeah, this was Benji and I talk about it every time we get a X-Men comic. Jonathan Hickman's X-Men revamped, universe here has been a little difficult to follow it sometimes. Marauders has been my favorite title up to this point, and I did enjoy this issue, but it was a little overly complex, I guess. What were your thoughts on this one? Whoa.
Mac lives in Florida, so that's literally a thunderstorm. I did think it was simultaneously confusing and very simple, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
but it's like, bunch of people reuniting, and then she goes to get a tattoo, and that's pretty much the entire thing. I will say there was some parts that stood out to me. I really liked the panel where it's from her perspective lying on the floor, so he's upside down. I thought that was nice. And I really liked the last panel, but obviously the cover kind of spoils. I don't know if spoils is the right word, but it's kind of like a copy of that, but slightly different. So I kind of wish they'd gone with one or the other.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think spoils probably is the right word. I mean, it gives away where this is going. It is weird because this issue doesn't really have a lot of action. Like you said, it's essentially she comes back, reunites with everyone, and then gets a tattoo. That's the entirety of this issue. But it is a nice setup. And obviously, again, the context that we have going on right now, you haven't been reading Marauders. Right. So jumping into this issue, I mean, it's going to be, you're not clearly going to understand what's going on entirely, at least. But Kitty Pryde has been a really awesome character in this series, and I really like the direction they're going with her now. She's thunderstorm o'clock here in Central Florida. Yeah, she's just been a really, really awesome character, and I'm excited to see where this issue is going moving forward. So our other issues we talked about, as we kind of already alluded to, were the fallout and aftermath issues of Empyre, which, as Kyle mentioned, were kind of, would be difficult to follow, obviously, if you hadn't read the previous Empyre issues. And we'll start off here with Empyre Avengers Aftermath. What were your thoughts on this one?
This one was the most confusing of the three to me. Especially the beginning part Just kind of the transitions between the different things. Like you have kind of like a backstory, and then the thing with you'll have to fill in the people with what I'm actually talking about, because I don't even know. Like a prisoner or some sort of scroll, and then there's a wedding, which it seemed like was a flashback, or was it an aside, or I don't know. I feel like I understood most of what happened at the wedding, but it was just interesting, these transitions between them.
Yeah, no. So the wedding is sort of the big event of this issue. Empyre, to sum it up quickly, was a big crossover event where the Kree and Skrull armies came together to team up with the heroes of Earth, and they took on another alien race called the Kotati, which are basically plant people. So this is taking place after Empyre is finished. You finally get the real wedding between Hulkling and Wiccan, as you can see on the cover here, with all of the heroes in attendance. The sort of aside, or the flashback, I guess you could say, was coming from the Skrull history and how Hulkling was born and sent to Earth. So that's sort of the flashback of this comic. This was fun. It was nice to finally get the real wedding, as opposed to just the couple of pages they threw in for their Vegas wedding between Wiccan and Hulkling. This was what those characters actually deserved, and we finally got that.
Which is what they mentioned. They flashed. I didn't know about the Vegas wedding, but they mention it in the dialogue.
Yeah.
And that first panel of like all of the superheroes at the wedding was kind of fun. Like I zoomed in on my tablet and kind of looked around for all the different, not just characters I could find, but also just some funny like little scene things. And I will say, of the three, I think this one had my favorite art. I really like the purple spacey skies. Well, the style, like I said, there's kind of felt like there was three parts, and so I would say the middle style of artwork was my favorite, whereas the other two were nice, but I really like that vibrant like purple hues.
Yeah, the art in both this one and the Fantastic Four Fallout, it was fantastic. I have a hard time picking my pick of the week this week between this one and the other Empyre, the Fantastic Four Fallout one. I did really like this one, and like you said, it was really cool to see all of the heroes there, and you get that one big panel, and you can see everybody and everything happening. It also set up some interesting stuff for the future. Alpha Flight, which is basically the space response team in the Marvel Universe for Earth. They may not be a thing. They may be a very different thing in the future. I am curious, because this issue features a time jump, and we don't know how far into the future we go. And that kind of teases a big story for the future, but we don't know how far down the line, when we might see it, or what this is even going to be. So very interested to see where that plays out, if and when that plays out. And our final issue for the week would be the aforementioned Fantastic Four Fallout. You can see the cover there. And I would have to say,
I saw.
Oh, you had a different cover?
Yeah, in the app, I thought it was a different cover.
I could be wrong. Yeah, maybe I grabbed the wrong one. I believe that's it.
Or maybe I read the wrong issue.
Well, hopefully not. This is the Fantastic Four side of things after Empyre is completed. And I would say this is probably my pick of the week. What were your thoughts on this one, if you read the right one?
I think I agree overall. There were some things I understood, some things I didn't so much. Hopefully we read the same issue.
We did. And now that I'm thinking about it, we talked about it a little bit.
We talked about Karen. Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought there was just a couple of things like that where seemed like it was going to build up to more. I'm like, wait, did I miss a couple pages? Because it just resolved all of a sudden. So I think that, I guess that's kind of the point. But having, lacking a frame of reference, I was like, is it supposed to be this way? So I guess that would be the only thing. But I like the artwork in this one, not quite as much as the other, but I think in terms of story and stuff, this one would probably be my top of the three as well.
Yeah, what I liked about this one is you get that charm of the Fantastic Four story. It's all about family and that sort of thing, but it also has that weight of the big crossover story. Everybody's there. They give you that feeling of something really important in the Marvel universe is going on, with the existence of I believe his things of the unseen, basically the new Watcher, and then some craziness goes on at the end, leading into another big story coming out of Empyre. Seemingly a different story, but I'm not sure if this will be connected in the future. We did get some Spider-Man in there, which was a lot of fun. Him and Human Torch shared a few fun panels, including a mention of taking the Kree and Skrull children to Disneyland.
Yes,
so
that was funny. And taking him on the teacups, and who was looking sick? I forget.
Wolverine was looking sick. Yeah. Yeah. So really enjoyed this one. We also got the return of the Profiteer in this one. I'd be interested to see if she comes back. She is one of the elders of the universe, so curious to know if she plays a role in future stories as well. So, just based off of these two, what do you think of Empyre?
I mean, I understand the crossover part of it. There was definitely some things that I'd be interested to learn more about. Like it seemed like Spider-Man had a blue suit, which does that mean he's part of the Fantastic Four? Like, how's that?
Yeah, so they were him and Wolverine were not even really with the actual Fantastic Four, but with the Richards children for the duration of the entire crossover. So yeah, they geared up at the Baxter Building and went into their fight that way.
And
so.
Was it Reed who had a suit that was made by Stark?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So there clearly was a lot of context missing from this, from these two issues. Obviously, if you're reading the aftermath and fallout issues of a big crossover, not a great place to start. Although, they both lead into what seems like it's going to be really big stories moving forward. So I like that is there. If you were to continue reading into those big stories, this would be a great place to start. So it's really just about perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
And so you said Fantastic Four was also your pick of the week?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. So we agree on that. By the way, and me and Benji, I believe, agreed on this one. If you were to just pick up a crossover story to read that you haven't read before, Empyre is probably not at the top of our list. It was good. I enjoyed it overall, but it wasn't my favorite. So I think these two issues were above average in terms of the Empyre spectrum. So that does it for our comics for the week. So let's jump into some news, some Marvel news from the past week. And actually just today, maybe an hour ago, they announced the King in Black will emerge in Atlantis Attacks #5 coming in December. The King in Black is going to be another big crossover story starting off in December. So if you're looking for that tease of when the King in Black Null is going to show up, Atlantis Attacks #5 will be the issue to find that.
Did that character show up in one of the books we read today, or was that a character with a different name, slightly different name? I think it was Marauders.
It did seem like there was a tease of what might have been him, but then it ended up not being what I thought it was. So no, he didn't show up in these today, but he will be coming very soon. That's for sure. Okay. In other news, Amazon is reportedly in talks with Sony to distribute some new Marvel series, including starting with Silk, who is another spider-powered character. So that should be pretty interesting. Obviously, there's so many different Marvel projects going on right now that it's easy to lose track of them all. And
this one's Sony, so we will pay less attention to it overall. But
yeah.
Still,
yeah. I mean, you're right. Like, it's not going to be MCU top of the ladder sort of thing. But I'm always happy for anything else, any new Marvel content I get to watch. Avengers Infinity Quest pinball machines. Did you get a chance to take a look at these?
A little bit. Becca made a GIF, and I watched her GIF. So Yeah, no, pinball's interesting. Like I definitely remember going and playing it as a kid, not like exclusively, but like as part of a larger arcade experience. And it's been really interesting seeing machines they put out. So I think it's cool that they're making like a new Avengers one. Like it looks really cool.
Yeah, yeah, they look really awesome. These are coming from Stern Pinball, and there are 3 different models of the machine. There's the Pro Edition, the Premium Edition, and then the Limited Edition, which you're seeing here. And there are only 500 of these, so obviously a really awesome collector's item. I'd be surprised if they're not all snatched up by now. But yeah, this looks really cool. It's a story involving the Avengers and Thanos and his Black Order. So, I mean, really cool machines. Definitely something worth checking out.
I don't think most people who aren't very good at pinball, like me, realize that machines have stories, but they do. You just have to, put a lot of quarters in and actually know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm also not very good at pinball, and you would think it's a thing that just kind of, you just hit the button and the ball comes, but nope, can't do it. I don't know
what your little sound drops, and every once in a while the points. I love that part when you do something and then you're just like waiting, like, okay, something's happening. When's the ball going to come out? Because I need to be ready.
Right. Yeah. You kind of get lost in what's going on, and then all of a sudden the ball just goes right past you. And
yeah.
We also found out that Marvel has reportedly tapped the directors of Bad Boys for Life, the most recent sequel. I don't even know. Is that the 4th movie in the series? The 3rd?
I think it's the 4th.
Okay. They have been tapped to direct at least 1 episode of the Miss Marvel series headed to Disney Plus. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
I forgot that there was a Miss Marvel series coming to Disney Plus.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many new Marvel projects. It's easy to lose track of them.
Well, I remember Moon Knight and She-Hulk, but yeah, I forgot Ms. Marvel was the one in that trio that I forgot about. So when I first saw that story, which wasn't one from our normal sources, I was like, oh, are they announcing the series or just these directors? Is it a feature? What is it? And then I had to remember, oh yeah, we knew about this series. They're just doing an episode at least.
Yeah,
I never saw Bad Boys for Life, so I can't vouch for their work. But it's good to see that project moving forward. It's good for all of those series to move forward. I know there's a lot of anticipation for those, and that's something that Christine McCarthy, I think is her name, was just talking about on a thing we did a live blog for today, talking about trying to find a way to get those Marvel series back in production, to get them up as soon as possible.
Yeah, which is great news because I'm looking forward to every single one of them. I'm with you. I haven't seen Bad Boys for Life, but just knowing the nature of the franchise as a big action comedy, I think that's a perfect fit for Miss Marvel. I mean, really, as for a Marvel project in general, right? Like every Marvel has a level of comedy in it. And Miss Marvel obviously being a popular character right now, being the subject of the Marvel's Avengers game that just launched this past Friday, which we'll talk about in just a second here. But first, we also found out today that the El Capitan Theater is going to host a Marvel Studios trivia night tomorrow night. And they've been doing these online trivia events for a couple weeks now. And this week's event will be Marvel Studios. So you can go and check out for more information on laughingplace.com right now. You can see how you can sign up for individual or as a team. But like I mentioned, Marvel's Avengers, the big, long-awaited, highly anticipated game, finally dropped on Friday, September 4th. You haven't gotten a chance to play it, have you?
No, I don't even have a next-gen console for it. Unless it's on Switch. I don't think it's on Switch.
It's not on Switch. No, so I've been playing it on the PlayStation 4. It's pretty awesome. My review is up right now. You can go and check that out on laughingplace.com as well. Yeah, it's fun. It's got a great original story. Like I said, Miss Marvel at the center of it, but also all of your favorite Avengers. It's a wildly ambitious game. Like there's the normal campaign, and then beyond that, I can't even tell you how many other missions and different game modes and online play and future DLC and other characters and individual character story arcs. It's a huge game. So it's very easy to get lost in. So that's, to me, I think one negative of it. but when you actually get into the missions and start playing it, it's incredibly fun. So definitely recommend if you're a Marvel fan or if you're a video game fan, just go check it out.
I have 2 quick questions for you about it.
Yeah.
First, I know when they were teasing it and stuff, there were some critiques and some mocking of the character designs. Did that bother you as much when in the actual game than what we saw before?
One character. Everybody, I think most of them are perfect. Captain America is a little weird to me. His gear is just a little too bulky, a little too. It sounds weird to say, but it's a little too real world. Like it looks like he's wearing, like actual heavy gear, like riot gear, basically, as opposed to just wearing like a Captain America suit. So that's the only one though. I think the rest of them are designed very well. When you're playing the game, you get a really good feel for what they can and can't do. I think the voice actors did a great job. Again, Captain America's voice is a little bit deep for what we're used to now because everybody, Chris Evans is Captain America to everybody. So hearing a different voice is a little strange. The voice of Tony Stark is the voice of Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series. So if you've played any of those, it's hard to separate that voice too. But he also is hilarious and does a great job. So I think they did a really good job with this game.
And then I know it's early, but if you had to pick between this and the Spidey game, which way are you thinking?
Yeah, I mentioned that in my review, and I specifically said that it's probably unfair to compare the two because Marvel Spider-Man is basically one of the best video games, at least in recent memory, maybe of all time, to be honest. Like it's the gameplay in that is so incredibly smooth, and it's just so much fun to play. And an amazing story, a spectacular story, whatever you want to go with.
Ultimate, uncanny. No.
Which Avengers has as well, has another great story. I just haven't gotten a chance to finish it yet, so I don't know how the stories compare. But yeah, the gameplay is definitely more smooth and just more fun in Marvel Spider-Man. But again, like I said, kind of unfair to compare the two. It's like comparing, whatever new games comes out to Super Mario Brothers. It's, on a different level. But yeah, definitely worth checking out, especially if you're a Marvel fan. You get a great new original story. All right, so that is going to wrap it up for us this week. I do want to point out tomorrow night we will have another edition of the Laughing Place Movie Club where we will be talking about The Wolverine. So you can watch that on Disney Plus and then join us for a conversation tomorrow night. I will give you a fair warning in advance. I haven't rewatched it yet. The last time I saw this movie was in the theater when it came out. I don't even remember what year that was. It was a long time ago now. This was in the moment of me seeing it, my least favorite Marvel movie I've ever seen. So we'll see how it holds up on the rewatch, but might not be as favorable tomorrow. We'll see.
We might have to watch it tonight because I think Becca's doing that one.
Yeah, Becca will be joining us. It's our usual X-Men crew. So, but Kyle, thanks so much for filling in today.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with my noobness.
No, like I said, I wanted to get that perspective. I think it's good. I think a lot of people want to get into reading comics, and it's very daunting. You don't know where to start, and so I think it's a good thing to point out which comics are okay to pick up as your first Marvel comic in a long time and which ones you're going to get completely lost in. So I think it's nice to check in like this every once in a while. So thanks again. Thank you everybody for joining us this week, and check out Laughing Place Movie Club tomorrow night. Bye everyone.
Bye. I gotta way over here.